Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot and Astrology. This is Croaky Voice Me. I'm going to talk about the astrology for the new moon in Taurus at 25 degrees, almost 26 degrees. And then I'm going to do a reading, and I drew an oracle card for each of the elements: earth, air, water, and fire. Anyway, and a couple of shadow cards. So I think I'll start out by talking about the astrology, and then I will timestamp when I start the cards. So if you don't want to listen to this part, you don't have to. This is a very powerful new moon. Actually, I thought it was the day after tomorrow, but it's Saturday. Well, it's after midnight, so it's actually today, the 16th of May. At least here in the U.S., it happens at 4:01 p.m. Eastern Time. And it is conjunct two things in the sky. It's exactly conjunct a star called Algol, which I knew nothing about, and I'm going to talk about that briefly, and the planet Uranus, pretty much after, Uranus is at 1 degree Gemini, so, pretty soon the moon will be conjunct Uranus, not exactly when it's new, but within a day or so. So, I looked up Algol, and it said it was the demon star, and it was, when Perseus cut off Medusa's head, and it's all this negative stuff about facing your shadow, and I thought, oh, not again. And then my friend, my friend at Dog Star Tarot, you can check out her video. She read from the book, and it's completely different. It's about patriarchy, overcoming matriarchy, and, it's completely different than what I read. And I don't know this star. That's why I'm not a professional astrologer. So you can look that up. But I think it's a powerful feminine energy. And of course, Taurus is a feminine sign ruled by Venus. And the interesting thing about this new moon, well, it's many things, but what I really like about it is that, so it's on the 16th of May, and then the next day on the 17th, Mercury moves into Gemini, which he rules. And then on the 18th, Mars moves into Taurus, so right behind the new moon. And then on the 19th, Venus moves into Cancer, which she loves to be in. And then on the 21st, the Sun moves into Gemini. So we have all of this movement, and it's just really interesting. And also on the 19th, and I'm not going to talk about all of this tonight, Mercury trines Pluto, and Mercury in Gemini trines Pluto in Aquarius. So just briefly, I'm just going to mention a couple things. So a new moon in Taurus is about having trust in yourself and your self-worth. And it's about, the keywords for Taurus are I have. Aries is I am. That's where you're just discovering you're a separate individual. And then Taurus is, what do I have to work with? And when I say what do I have, it means on a very literal level, like possessions, money, your home is very important. But also, what do I have to work with? My sense of self-worth, just who am I, and what do I have that I can use to make myself comfortable and secure. Taurus loves security. Excuse me. And so with this conjunction to Uranus and Gemini, there can be some information coming in, either from your own mind, here I go, or from other people, where you get sudden insights or new communications that you weren't expecting. Uranus is always the unexpected. It's always sudden, and it's always like the last thing you would think of. Like if I say that, you might think, oh, I bet I'm going to hear from so-and-so, or I bet it's going to be concerning. No, it'll be something else. Like for this, just a personal example, I got up today, looked at my voicemails on my phone, and a man had left me a message telling me he was going to call the police and have me sent to jail. Yes. I'm like, what? Because I did trespass on private property, and I knew I was doing it, but there was a cat that needed help. And I don't turn my back on animals or people. I would do the same thing anyway. Anyway, I did not expect to get that in my voicemail first thing when I got up. Oh, I forgot to read my quote here. This is from the, I'll read it at the beginning of the cards. That way if people want to hear the cards, they can hear that. Okay, so you could have some new ideas about your home, your sense of self-worth, just whatever you possess, what you trust about yourself and about others, what makes you feel emotionally secure. This could be very enlightening, and it's also, as a new moon, it's time to plant a seed. So you can get some ideas about, what do I want? You might even be thinking about moving, literally. It's like, what do I want? What do I have that's worth keeping? And what do I want to, hold on to? And how can I look at it in a new way? And, just what have I got that's worth something? So, and then Mercury moves into Gemini, as I said, which brings in new ideas, new ways of looking at things, new insights. Communication ramps up between you and other people. There's going to be a lot of to and fro, I think, communication-wise, and watch out for petty gossip and don't believe everything you hear. And then when Venus moves into Cancer on the 19th, that puts another stress on, I don't mean stress as in anxiety, I mean more energy into your home, your family, who you're close to, who you're nurturing, who's nurturing you, what makes you feel emotionally secure. Again, this is just, adding to that. And, and I skipped the 18th. May 18th, Mars moves into Taurus. So again, it's like, what can I build? How can I use my energy to make myself more secure and work with my home environment and build something solid? And Mars and Taurus can be very stubborn. Mars loves to move quickly because he rules Aries, but Taurus is a very slow sign. It's the bull standing in the field, doesn't usually move until it gets angry. So watch out for being too stubborn. There can be a sense of wanting to hold on to things too much. Watch about, your opinion. Make sure it's fluid. With Mercury and Gemini, that should help. But anyway, it's a lot of really interesting energy. And we have another second full moon coming up at the end of the month in Sagittarius. So there's a lot happening here. And, there's a lot of insight, a lot of change, a lot of communication, but it's about security. It's about home and both emotional and physical security, and how do they relate to each other? How do they feed each other? Okay, I think that's all I need to say. So let me write down the time here. 8:01, how about that? I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm just going to read a brief quote from the astrologer Rob Brezsny, Brezsny. I like this. He said, where did it go? If something consistently drains your vitality, it's not your spiritual assignment, no matter how noble it looks on paper. Okay, I think that fits for the time. Okay, so I haven't really thought about the cards that much, but I just laid them out. I wasn't surprised to see this in the middle, the Nine of Pentacles. This is the exact embodiment of a new moon in Taurus, I think. And remember, the moon rules your emotions. So when I'm talking about thinking about what you have, it's feeling what you have and your home and all that. I should have stressed that more. It's more about feeling than thinking. But since Mercury's, involved here, it's could be both. So this is about really taking stock. It's about enjoying what you have. There's a sense of assessment a little bit, not as much as there is with the 7 or the 8, but especially the 7. This is about enjoying what you have, the fruits of your labor, But he's kind of like, okay, I have this many pentacles, and the grapes are growing, and things are good, and I feel independent, and I'm enjoying it. Okay. That's where we're standing right now. That's what this energy is about. And then, this is the cross of truth, and usually this is what we leave behind. But tonight, before I even saw the card, I said to myself, this isn't what we're leaving behind. This is the way we've been doing things. And it's kind of the energy that we've been in, and it's still with us. We're using it, but we're going to refine it. So the Magician. This is a time to manifest something. With the new moon, that's always true. So we are, this is telling us to try to channel something that's a little bit bigger than your own personal ego, your own thoughts, your own feelings. Don't get stuck in your feelings at this time, and don't be too clingy to things, because you're channeling a bigger vision, I think, than you realize. And we have been for a while. And then what's right in front of us is the Page of Cups. So here comes a new emotion. On an emotional level, there's something new that you're going to want to start, which is a good time with the new moon. Something new that needs tender care. You need to be, you need to take good care of yourself. Self-care, be conscientious, tend to your own personal feelings at this time. Of course, always be careful of others, but at this time it's about nurturing ourselves too, and making sure that, that just keep things peaceful. Try to stay peaceful emotionally. That will be a great help. There's some new feeling that comes up, so honor it. And then on the bottom here, I asked, what's our challenge? Because I felt like this was going to be a challenge at the bottom. And I got two cards at the same time. The Three of Swords and the Knight of Wands. Okay. And I think this is this Three of Swords where it's kind of like, the Three of Swords can be, a love triangle. It can be an old wound, that's something that wounded you in your heart. In this deck, it's more about lancing a boil. It's like there's an old wound, but it's time to, pop it and let it flow out and move on. And when it comes out with the Knight of Wands like this, I feel like he's asking us to just tear the Band-Aid off. I don't know if you have Band-Aids there, but the bandage. He's like, just get rid of that. And bravery, it's like, don't let that wound stop you. It's time to face that old wound and lance it. Don't just wallow in it. Don't, you've thought about it enough. It's time to just sort of let the poison flow out if you can. That's what I think anyway. I don't think this is a warning about being too bold. I think it's saying be bold and brave and stand up for yourself too. Like today when the man said I was going to go to jail for walking on the private property to feed the cat. I did not take that lying down. I had an issue with the property there, and I said so. So anyway, yeah, just be bold. Don't be crazy bold, but Now this one I'm trying to figure out, because this is our blessing, and I get the Hanged Man, which is Neptune energy. And this is generally when we're sort of paused, and we're not able to move forward. I think maybe this is a cautionary note of, even though the Knight of Wands can usually be rushing in, I think he's more about bravery. Because it looks like we might be feeling a little stagnant, like something's standing in our way. But this is telling me that that's a good thing, that the pause is beneficial. Maybe you're too tired, or maybe you haven't, the ideas haven't come together. Maybe it's not the right time. I don't know. This can also be a card of voluntary self-sacrifice. I don't know about that. I'm feeling more like it's a pause that you may feel like you're being stymied or stopped, but there's a reason for it. That's what's coming through. Okay. And then I'll just quickly do the shadow cards before I do the elements. I asked, okay, so what do we need to let go of? And I think these two are intricately linked. The King of Pentacles came out with the Three of Pentacles. And I think this is saying do not try to control what other people are doing, even if it's a task. Okay, now I'm getting another message. Even if let's say there's a task that you have to work with someone else on. It's like it's not your choice, but these other people are involved. You have a common goal or, a common enterprise, and you have to work with them. At first I was feeling like you can't control them, don't try. And I think that's true, but I also know I'm feeling like it could also be that they're not honoring your authority. That's possible too. Okay, so just saying. And then, let's see, I started with the earth signs because the sun's in Taurus, although it moves in a few days. This is for the earth signs, so that would be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and so they're all in good aspect to this new moon. And I get building blocks, which is exactly what I was talking about. If you listened to the astrology, this is a time, building blocks is about laying a solid foundation. Whatever you're going to do, where's my book? Let's see if sometimes I like their keywords. This is about making sure that you've got everything, you don't want to do it hastily. You want to do it. Taurus energy is all about, Virgo's about the details, but Taurus is about a good solid foundation. So this says, strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. You have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life. This is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Okay, I think that's true. So, that's what you're working with, earth signs. It's about looking at the very foundation of who you are and what you have, and etc. And then this is the air signs, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and it says clean it up. You get to look at the details. Not my favorite thing. I'm not a detail person. I can be, but I don't like it. It says getting to the core of a situation, freedom from a burden, cleaning house, sweeping away what is no longer needed. Okay, so do you have physical clutter in your house maybe? This is also about, like I said down here, I said with the shadow cards, this is about knowing what's yours to clean up and what isn't yours to clean up. You clean up your side of the street and let people worry about theirs. Okay? Don't trespass on other people's property, haha. And don't let them trespass on yours, but you take care of your stuff and let everybody else take care of theirs. Okay? So there might be some details and some things you need to go through and let go of. Again, as I said in that quote, if it's draining your energy, it's probably not for you. And then the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, you get loyal heart. I have two favorite cards in this deck, and this is one of them. So, loyal heart is pretty much what it says. It's about being loyal. It's about looking at who are you loyal to and who's loyal to you. Fidelity, loyalty, devotion. Evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. Others will prove they are faithful to you, and you will in turn commit fully to them. There is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. That's hard to believe sometimes. I know, but that's what it says. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected, and divinely directed. Okay. And then it says, honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you in your relationships. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. That's very powerful. Okay, that's the water signs. And last but not least, it's the fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and you get TikTok. This is actually a good card, but I hate the picture that they chose. I don't know why, but I don't like it. I don't like the colors, I don't like the picture, but it's a good card. This is about divine timing. Yeah, which is always good, which could be why we have the Hanged Man at the top, because Spirit knows when things are best to be done and when not. So it says timelessness, divine timing, and immeasurable time. So people have come to look at life in a linear way, imagining that the past is behind them and the future ahead of them. But what if that isn't true at all? What if everything, creativity, beauty, chaos, and order, were happening now in a glorious timelessness? You have all the time in the world to co-create the life you desire, so release your agenda. So it says some things are preordained and cannot be coerced. Everything has its season. Okay, so this is about divine timing, which is, it's part of this reading. You can, and also this about having what you need. This and the Nine of Pentacles, you have what you need to create the life you want. But it may not come when you want it, but just trust in the timing. Okay, so fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag, divine timing. Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. Pardon my voice. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Please leave me a comment. Let me know how this resonated. And have a happy new moon in Taurus, everyone. Blessings. Good night.